welcome back to Sorare Assist. So I've got some more team scouting for you today, guys. If you do like this video, smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. If you're not signed up to Sorare yet, sign up, use the link below, you'll get a free limited card. You'll also get to draft your fantasy teams as well. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter and check out SorareAssist.com. Okay then guys, let's kick off with today's content. Okay, so we're going to be doing some scouting from the European leagues today, guys, from the game week just gone by. So let's get straight stuck into it with the first player that I've scouted from the game week. The first player is Luis Alberto. He's only 30 this guy and he's got a contract until 2025 with Lazio. He's been more in the first team recently after previously being left out by Sarri. Sarri didn't play that he could play with Savic. Didn't think that that worked tactically, although they have been both playing together now. Although Alberto has scored well, it seems Savic's score have been affected by Alberto starting more games, so maybe Sarri was right. But Alberto is certainly benefiting, and as you can see from his L5 and L15, being on fantastic form at the end of the season. Looking pretty cheap to me at the moment as well, if you are after picking up some more cards in the off-season in the European leagues. And Lazio are also in Europe next season as well for that extra utility. If we have a look at the score in the last game then, he got to 100 in the last game with a goal and an assist. He also had an all-round score of 47. Generally his score's been pretty decent as well. If we just filter this to when he started, we can see he's had pretty consistent numbers. The good thing about Alberto though is one of those players who can get these peak scores in the 80s, 90s, 100s on a favourable fixture. So I think he's certainly a good one to have in your squad. Another good option is Joshua Brenet of 20. Now he's been on fantastic form recently for 20, the defender, and he's got a contract with them till 2024. Looking pretty good price wise as well at the moment. And if you look at his scores, we can see some really good scores here, especially if we just filter it to the games where he started. He has been showing some really good numbers recently, and again is one of those players that can reach these peak scores as well, so it's looking really promising for this defender. In the last game he got a 100 score in a 4-0 win against Heerenveen. He also got a goal in this game as well from right back with an all-round score of 48. So I think he's looking really impressive, this guy, with next season in mind. Another good defender of course is Militao of Real Madrid. He's only 25 and he's got a long contract with Real Madrid as well till 2025. As you can see from his L40 and L15 numbers, consistent player, 61, 58. Really consistent numbers there. You're paying a bit more of a hefty price, but that is because he is a Champion Europe player. And if you was going to buy this player, I would maybe suggest to use him in that Champion Europe division. If we have a look at his scores then, again, another player that can reach these peak scores in that centre-back position. Filter it to ones where he's started as well. Makes the graph look even better. And in this last game he had a clearance off the line and he won a penalty as well, so he got a solid 94 points there. 24 all-round score as well, which is really good for a defender. It was unfortunate not to get a clean sheet here as well. That would have obviously got him the max 100 score here. So another solid option there for Europe next season. And another interesting option is Edin Visker of Trabzonspor. This guy is 33, but he has got a long contract with Trabzonspor till 2025. He's a midfielder for them. He has been injured for quite a number of months, but he has come back recently and started getting the first team. As you can see, played 100% of the last 5 games with an average of 60. He is also an international as well for Bosnia and Herzegovina, so he's got that international utility. Looking pretty cheap at the moment as well in terms of his card prices. If we have a look at his scores then, we can see that he has been working his way back to fitness. If we just filter this to the games where he's started, and we can see obviously these games are where he's just getting back to match fitness, but now he's starting to show the form that he's capable of. And if we also have a look at the full graph and just filter it to the Turkish Superliga, this is the scores he was getting previously before his injury. So he is capable of getting these high scores in the 80s and 90s. Looking really good. 65 starts here in this graph, 14 goals, 22 assists. So I think he's looking at a potentially solid option. And in this last game, playing the right midfield role, he got an assist here, got an all-round score of 29, which is fantastic for an attacking player, and an overall score of 89. So he could be a bit of an under-the-radar player for next season potentially. I've picked one of his cards up, as you can see. certainly one to have in your squad. Good option for next season. Another good option, of course, is Hugo Carupas of Ghent. Got a long contract with them till 2026. He is only 26 as well. Been on fantastic form this season. Looking at a decent price as well for a solid Challenger Europe forward. And if we look at his scores as well, if we just filter this to the Jupiter League games, we can see some absolutely fantastic scores here. Ghent as well have already qualified for Europe next season for that extra utility. In the last 37 games, 37 starts, he's scored 27 goals and got 8 assists. Absolutely fantastic player, this guy. Really, really good Challenger Europe forward. And in this last game against Standard Liège, he got a hat-trick with an 88 points there in 80 minutes played. An absolutely fantastic hat-trick there for Carupas. I don't know if this was his first one for Ghent, potentially. It was his first one in the last 37 games. Anyway, let's just filter this to Ghent. Go to all games. So yeah, that was his first hat-trick actually. But as you can see, he's been banging in the goals and assists. So it's definitely one to consider for your teams. Next up, we've got Sorare. Now, I've mentioned him recently, but I have to mention him again because he's been in absolutely fantastic form. He's only 25 and he's got a contract till 2025. Now, I was lucky enough to spot his potential early. This is during a period when he was injured, so quite a while ago now. I've actually picked up his 2020 card on auction all those years back, so around 3 years. But obviously my patience has been rewarded now and he's on fantastic form recently. The form that I expected from him when he did fully recover from his long injury layoff. If we just look at his L5 and L15, we can see some fantastic averages here. His L40 is also looking brilliant as well at 63. He's also Czech Republic international as well, of course. So he's another fantastic option up front. And if we just look at his scores then, where we started for 20, and we'll just filter it to the Dutch League, we can see that he's been on fantastic form recently. Previous to that though, he was still getting some good scores in the 80s and 90s. And if we filter this to all scores, if we just take away the ones where he started again, this will show us where he's been injured. So as you can see, he was injured for a number of months here, long injury layoff. Then he was starting to make a few sub appearances, obviously still getting back to match fitness, getting back to being used and being into the team. And then eventually he's starting getting first team football again, and we can see that he's been on absolutely fantastic form since getting back to that match fitness, match sharpness, and it's getting better and better for Sorare. This was some of the scores that he had before his injury layoff. We can see that he was also on fantastic form here as well. And he's got a pretty good AA game as well, 11.3 on average in these 50 starts, 18 as sub and 3 on the bench. So yeah, I think Sorare is another fantastic player. And in the last game, he got a max 100 with 2 assists in a 4-0 romping of Heerenveen. And 20 have one more game to play against Sparta to see if they do qualify for Europe next season. So I'm certainly hoping they do get the victory there and get that European utility for next season. Next up, we've got another 20 player, and that's Robin Proper. He's only 29, he's got a contract till 2024. There has been rumours that he's potentially going to be moving, but I've read up on it and it looks like he does want to stay at 20 at the moment. But that's not hearsay. And he could potentially move as well, of course, so bear that in mind. But at the moment, it's looking a pretty good option if he does stay in the Challenger Europe division. Now, looking at his scores this season, he's had around 34 games, 2 goals, 2 assists, some really good scores, some max scores as well, which what we like to see, and some really consistent numbers if he's not getting that goal or assist. So he's looking at another solid option. He has been playing at centre-back recently as well. And he was also the captain in this last game where he got a goal at the centre-back position and a score of 96.9. So I think Proper is definitely looking a good option. Another good option is Antoine Griezmann of Atletico Madrid. Now his contract does expire at the end of this season, so we'll see what happens with him come the end of the season. I'm sure he'll be looking to agree a new contract with Atletico Madrid though, potentially. And I can see from these numbers he's been absolutely on fantastic form. An L40 of 70, which is looking really impressive. He also performs well for France as well, of course, on the international stage. As we saw at the World Cup, he was blasting out some fantastic SO5 scores at the World Cup. So still a very viable option. It's obviously expensive though because he is in the Champion Europe division. So you do expect to be a bit more of a premium for those players. But if we look at his score graph, he's going to reward you with these sort of scores. Some absolutely fantastic numbers here. These are even more impressive when you're considering he's playing for Atletico Madrid, who are probably not the best side in terms of SO5 scores due to the tactics that are used at the club. But in the last game, he did get 2 assists against Villarreal in a 2-2 draw, and he got 80 points in that game. But as you can see, he's been getting plenty of assists and goals recently, and he seems to be enjoying his football again after a bit of a period where he was in and out of the side at his last club. On to a goalkeeper now, and that is Alex Meret of Napoli. He's 26, he's got a contract till 2024 with Napoli. As to be noted though, there has been some links to Tottenham in the English Premier League, so I don't know if they're going to suffice and if he's going to move just yet or not, or if he's going to stay at Napoli. Obviously he's just won the title with Napoli as well, so we'll see what happens there, but at the moment it's definitely a good option for the Champion Europe division. Scores wise, he's got some fantastic scores as you can see here. Some really, really good numbers. And he's got 20 clean sheets in the last 44 appearances. We could also see in this last game as well in a 2-0 win against Sampdoria. He got 80 points, which was absolutely fantastic. He was on the bench in a few games here, but I think that's probably because Napoli had already wrapped up the title and was maybe giving the second choice keeper a run out in some of these games. He's also in the Italian squad as well, in and around the Italian squad. He's on the bench at the moment though, but he's in and around the Italian team there. And the final option this week is Yousef Sarri of Adana Demirspor. He's only 24 and he's got a contract with them till 2025. Now as you can see, he's been getting more consistent minutes recently. This is equated to much better scores. He's got a 58 average on his L15 and a 76 average on his L5. Looking fairly cheap at the moment as well to me, judging by these recent scores. The midfielder then has had some impressive displays this season. As I say, more recently his appearances have been a bit more frequent in the starting lineup a bit more, and that's helped his form. If we just filter this to the games he's started, we can see that he is getting some pretty decent scores when he is starting these games, with an average of 13.3 in terms of his all-round score. I think he's looking pretty decent really. He'll maybe crack on a little bit more next season. In this game here, in a 3-2 loss, he did get an assist and he got 79 points here with 1 assist, so that's looking really impressive. But as I say, he has been on form at the end of the season where he's getting plenty of starts, getting goals and assists. So I'd expect him to be a start next season for Adana Demirspor and maybe crack on and churn out some of these scores more consistently. So that was all the scouted players from the game week gone by, some of the best players there from the game week gone by with some potential to carry on these scores come next season. If you like this video, smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. If you're not signed up to Sorare yet, sign up using the link below. You'll get a free limited card to buy your first 5 cards on auction. Follow me on Twitter and Facebook and check out SorareAssist.com. You can also download a free ebook as well now, of course. Link is in the description if you did want to do that today. And thanks for watching as always. I'll see you again on the next one.